So, for those of you who do not know who I am the voice of God. I'm Angel Vivaldi, and I'm going to be playing some music for you guys and answering all of your questions. And we're going to have a good time. It's going to be awesome. Wow, this mic is actually really loud. I'm starting to break like a nervous sweat. Can you see the beads of sweat forming on my forehead? My hair's going to be like in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to start with a song, and then from there you guys are going to think of all the philosophical deep questions that are pondering in your mind. You're going to write them down, and then you're going to immediately forget them. And I'm going to call on you. I'm going to go, hey, you have a question? And you're going to be like, But luckily this is a very good-looking crowd, so you guys can do whatever you want. We're going to make this work here. So let's talk about life. Any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns?
One thought that you told me you were going to suck last night.
See what happened? I came through. Get it?
I told you you would.
All right, so that was a song called Endorphin off my last record called Synapse. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a very conceptual writer. So everything I release album-wise has some type of theme or some type of concept. And the concept for that record in particular is something pretty unorthodox and a little bit crazy and a little bit extra. Good to see I'm consistent, right? what I did was, how many of you guys write music that's original and that's your own? All right. Yeah, you do. You know what's up. So when you identify yourself as a songwriter and you can't write a song, you kind of have like those questions of like, well, what the hell am I? And it can very easily be, you can slip into a depression really quick, man. So I didn't want that to happen. So I figured, I just thought to myself, man, when am I the most inspired? And I realized the times that I'm most inspired is when I move from one house to another and I'm surrounded by a different environment. The first thing that I do is I set up my computer and I start to write, and everything just kind of flows right out, and it's very easy. Whereas, if I've been in the same environment, constantly trying to be productive and creative, it's just easy to get stagnant. So what I wound up doing, so the concept of the record was about neurotransmitters, so dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline, things of that nature, and all these different neurotransmitters are responsible for different emotions and different behaviors. So once I listed out all of the 8 neurotransmitters that I wanted to do songs for, I assigned a color to every single one of them. So dopamine was black, adrenaline was red, endorphin was orange, oxytocin was yellow, and I went and painted my room yellow and wrote oxytocin. And I painted a room black and wrote dopamine. And I painted my room white and wrote noradrenaline. And 26 coats of paint later, I had myself an album. And it was very interesting because it kind of went beyond that too. It was the more ideas I had for the record, the crazier it got. Oh, hi. So what wound up happening was dopamine I will only write at night, so that's the color, black. Oxytocin, I wound up, just changing the interior design of the room and how it looked and how it felt. Serotonin was green, so I filled the entire studio up with plants. I only wrote it during the day. Adrenaline was red. I will only write after a really good workout or anything that kind of exuded that kind of vibe. And what wound up happening was, I don't think, it's hard to say, but I don't think the record would have came out that way had I not gone through this obnoxiously overwhelming project. Because it wasn't only that, I also filmed everything, which it hasn't come out yet. But so as I'm like painting and setting up my studio and writing, and setting up the camera and how I want it, and I'm in a groove, then I hear the camera click, dead battery, full card. We want to talk about making love and then like the doorbell ringing. That's pretty much the equivalent of that. But that's the one thing, you have to really figure out what it is that inspires you the most, and as long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else, I highly encourage you guys to just, really just surround yourself with that, because you'll be surprised at what'll actually come out. But you have to examine it, you have to be honest with it too, and for many years, I always found little tricks at the trade, like, we always have the things of also repeating ourselves all the time and go into our bag of tricks, and it's just like, oh, we're playing the same licks. And it's a lot of self-awareness. Self-awareness is the best thing. I think the people who are most successful in life are the most self-aware, because you know what you're really good at, and you know what you're really not good at. Like I'm not into mixing and mastering. I'm sure a lot of people are probably into like compressors and EQs. I don't even know what a compressor does. Okay? And I really have no passion for that, but I mean, when it comes to other things that I'm really interested in, like cinematography and light design and stuff like that, inspires me. And luckily for me, I can use those interests to do a light show for a tour or do a light show for someone else that might need one. And it's always very inspiring just to kind of have different interests that can serve your music overall. And yeah, that's my spiel about inspiration. So any other questions? Anyone? No?
Are you changing the way that you get your creative juices flowing for whatever you're going to work on next?
That's a very good question. Actually, yes. This time, actually, I switched. So you guys know me to play 7 strings almost like exclusively. But for my next record, it's actually mostly 6 string, which is very different for me. Because we all grow up typically, I think, like playing 6 strings and stuff like that. But for me, I've been playing 7 string almost exclusively for like 12 years now, and going back to the 6 is just, damn, it's easier, man. Shit, I didn't even know it was easier. I'm kind of just like, this is how you know I grew up poor. I'm just conditioned to the struggle. And this is just like what I just get used to. So I'm like, all right, this is it, you know? And the 7 has a lot of endless capabilities, but I mean, so does the 6, you know? And having the ability to play a little bit, with like a splash of more ease, it's been really nice. It's been really nice. And also different tunings too, because it's mostly an acoustic record. So the different tunings and like the whole percussive, like, you know, 2-hand tapping thing has been really interesting to, you know, to explore. So I think just the different instruments have really been the premise of the new record coming out for sure. Yeah.
How did you break away from playing other people's music and making your own, making it your own? Because I find that many times what's happening is when you're working on something in the artistic world, you tend to copy a lot of what you see that's out there.
Oh yeah.
But in the reality is that at one point or another you have to make something that's your own.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get to that point that you were like, I gotta do me?
That's a fantastic question. So I guess my journey from like being in a band to like a solo artist, I guess that's like, you know, the gist of it. I guess for me, I knew I always really wanted to be like a really good lead guitarist, but never really wanted to be like an instrumental guy, you know, which is kind of like a beautiful accident or a horrible accident, depending on how you look at it. But there's something to be said about the collaborative energy of being in a band. You know, like when I'm in a band, when I was in a band with like Tommy Vex or like 40 Below Summer, it was, you know, I know my role and I'm here to contribute, and that's that. You know, as far as everything else that, you know, we all wear the hats for, you know, like the branding and doing this and posting stuff, I didn't really get involved in that. Like, I'm the guitar player, that's what I'm gonna do. And it's really interesting to also feel off other people's ideas as well, because it makes my job a lot easier. Songs get done quicker because it's a joint effort. You know, tours get booked faster because it's a joint effort, you know? And so on and so forth. So like, you know, when it comes to my stuff though, I'm extremely strong in my vision. I'm very honest with that. And you have to be honest with that, because if you're not, if you're really strong in your vision and then you try to go into a collaborative situation, what's gonna end up happening is if you're not down for the collaborative situation, you are going to be a tyrant. You're gonna try to take it over, you're gonna be a control freak, da 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 da. Bitch, I am a control freak, but I can wield her. You know, I can wield it to be appropriate for certain situations, right? So you have to figure out what your temperament is. It's like, all right, can I separate myself? And also, the overall essence of what I want to say as an artist, does it match? Is it compatible with the band and what they have to say? You know, it's honestly like being in a relationship. You guys have to have a lot in common. You guys have to have chemistry, and y'all have to be good looking. Okay. Only if you're in LA. But that's the thing, you know, being very honest with what your voice is and seeing if it could serve this band. Now, like in my experience doing guest solos, this is very interesting now too, because when I do guest solos, someone asks me to do, you know, if it's like a ballad or like a technical death metal song, like, you know, I listen to everything. And when people say I listen to everything, noobish. If you're going from Bach to rap to like post-rock to prog to whatever it is, like, I've dipped my toe in every single genre. So growing up and listening to these different genres, you know the format, you know the blueprint, and I know how to kind of alter my voice to suit the song. Like I did a guest solo for Carnifex recently, and you know it was very, very fitting for them, 100%. Whereas there was a solo I did for Scale the Summit, very, very different. That's like more just like new agey prog rock, very, very appropriate for them. So you got to be honest with that, and if you're not honest with that, what's going to wind up happening is you're going to commit yourself to a musical situation, and you're not going to be vibing with it. It's not going to be fun for anyone, really. You're not going to have fun collaborating with them, and they're going to be like, well, this is shot, you know. So definitely just be honest with what your voice is, but also be open to being versatile as well. If you feel like that's something that you want to do, like, you know. But there's always something to take away from different genres for sure.
So just two quick ones.
Sure.
You just mentioned Scale the Summit. How was it working with them and Chris?
Yeah.
Was it fun?
Oh, dude, we toured together, man. It was amazing.
Nice.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. You know, and here's the thing too, and because I'm like, I know there's a camera in front of me, and there's like, but like I'm just an honest motherfucker. So here's the thing. So relationships in the industry, right? So this is segueing into a completely different thing, but I'm taking it anyway, because there's going to be like 5 other questions after this, and that's my night. So the thing is like, you know, I'm sure people read certain things about certain people, and they have like this blanket, idea of their persona. You have to get to know people one-on-one, man. Me and Chris are like this. He is an absolutely beautiful person, and we had so much fun. And not to mention, dude, he's a hell of a guitar player, dude. Hell of a guitar player, really good songwriter, extremely versatile, like we were talking about too, because scales like me, they're like this, and they're like this, they're like this, and that to me is like the essence of progressive, It's not like playing in 11/8. It's just like doing whatever genre that you want to do, but doing it competently, But man, we had a great time, and that solo in particular, actually, it typically takes me a long time to write, but that one came pretty quick because just the riff was sick, And I was like, oh, this is awesome. But yeah, I love that man. Everyone, that whole band's amazing.
I saw like a while ago you were hanging out with Mike Dawes.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing him tomorrow.
I was gonna say, so are we gonna see any Mike Dawes inspiration kind of pathway in the new album?
It's funny. We briefly talked about that at NAMM last year because came up in conversation about so what are you doing next? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm working on Way with Words Part 2, which is mostly an acoustic record. And he goes, mate, are you fucking serious? And he's just like doing this. I'm like, okay. But man, you want to talk about an absolutely brilliant, I can't put into words how astounding it is to watch that man play. He is absolutely incredible. As of right now, though, there aren't any guests on the record, but that can easily change. The second that I hit a wall and I'm like, I don't know what to do after this, I'm gonna be like, Mike, help me. but yeah, I'm sure we'll bring it up in conversation tomorrow. but yeah, nothing in the works as of yet. Anyone else? Yeah.
So as far as your songwriting process, do you treat it as songwriting with vocals, like verse, chorus, bridge, like in segments like that?
Yeah. So that's kind of like, yeah, short answer. So that format's more like just like a pop format.
Right.
Just intro, verse, bridge, chorus. Not all the time though. Sometimes, like the song 2, if you're familiar with that song 2, it's just, it doesn't have a chorus, it just goes.
Right.
And it's like a big long story. Same thing with the song Synapse, it's just one big long story. It really depends on, I guess, the concept of the treatment of that particular song, but for the most part, listen, Joe Satriani made the blueprint of infusing guitar instrumental with a pop format, and he was a huge influence on me, him, Eric Johnson, Alex Skolnick, Steve Vai, and a little dash of Petrucci in there. And that was the amalgamation of what I was listening to. So a lot of them kind of follow that same format, so that's just kind of, what I follow as well, if I feel that the song kind of suits it. But yeah, for the most part, it's like the strings are voices, essentially,
Okay.
Anyone else? Yeah.
Speaking of Joe Satriani, thank you for teaching me your version of Crystal Planet. That
Yeah.
was awesome.
Thank you for learning it and playing it well.
Alright, so my question is, has any music this year that come out, does it have, do you enjoy any of the music that's come out this year, metal wise, and has anything inspired you to on Way with Words Part 2 so far?
I'm trying to think. It's funny. Metal Sucks. That website. They asked me to do a full one of my top 10 favorite metal records of the past 10 years, and I was just like, I'm a horrible candidate for this because I don't know what's going on. I should know what's going on, but I don't. There was a record recently. Actually, I Built the Sky. He sent me his record. And man, that's an awesome, awesome guitar record. I think it comes out November 1st, if I'm not mistaken, so buy it. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Oh, wait, Insomnium. All right, so there's a melodic death metal band from Sweden. I believe they're from Sweden or maybe Switzerland. Oh my God, from beginning to end, that record's just it's so angry. It's so good. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they actually hit the Billboard charts. And if you're like a black metal, melodic death metal band from Sweden, and you're on the Billboard charts for the United States, this country's pissed. This country, when metal hits the charts, bitch, we're angry. We're angry. But yeah, that record, it's a beautiful record, absolutely beautiful record. Oh, I was having a moment.
I know, I'm sorry.
That was beautiful. I was gonna start improvising over it, like just moving mountains of inspiration in me. You want to hit me again? Ask the wife to text again. You like it? You
Well,
know?
it's Hallelujah from the movie Sing, obviously.
Oh, well, I can pull that up right here. It's beautiful. Awesome. We'll have like a little improv lesson.
That'd be great.
What was the question? Oh yeah, mental problems. I'm the worst. This is what I'm getting at. Yeah. So any other questions? Keep asking them, because I do not want to play. My hands are too cold. My nipples are hard. You know? Yeah.
So I guess so my main genre that I play is like blues rock. So
Okay.
I'm looking to get into playing more of your style.
Nice.
I love listening to that stuff.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah.
So like any like tips on where to get started?
Yeah,
Like, I'm
absolutely.
Kind of like you know, like being versatile as a guitarist. Like
Mhm.
I'm very focused on like the '90s grunge scene, so I want to kind of try something more.
Hey man, I'm a product of the '90s grunge scene, man. If it wasn't for Nirvana, I would not be sitting here right now, dude. Nirvana changed my life.
So any like tips?
Yeah, absolutely. So you know, when you're playing in like kind of blues rock, you're kind of within the confines of like the pentatonic scale, right? You know, that kind of stuff, right? I mean, I bitch I can fake it, but I can't hang with these, you know. So you know, you're going from like 2-note per string, you know, playing to you want to evolve to 3-note per string playing. So really, you know, with the pentatonic scale, do you know all your pentatonic modes, like the 5 positions and stuff like that?
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm sure if you
Definition.
play, yeah, you could probably fit. You probably know that you know, but you don't know that you know.
There you go.
Right. Fuck that up, right? It's fine. It's fine. All right. So essentially, what you want to do is you want to get into the major and minor scale and learn all your modes: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. Now, what the hell does that mean? Bitch, I don't know. All right. So you go from you know the 2-note per string, you know, to more like. Alright, so that's just the first 3 modes. That's Ionian, Dorian, and then Phrygian, right? So this is just like a really quick crash course in this. So long story short, just look up the modes online and you'll learn them.
Sure.
But everything I write is derived from these modes. Everything. So it's not just the lead guitar stuff. Obviously, if I'm playing, you know, Ionian, it's just right? It's literally. So of course, you know, if I were to play a song that's in that key, bitch, do I even have a song that's in that key? Do I have a song that's... Yes, I do! Alright, so let's just say for shits and giggles, I hope this is not loud, but whatever. So, pentatonic scale. Right there, that one note, that's when you get into more information, right? So you have more information, that's what you read over when you're playing, right? So back to Ionian. So those notes, I know it's supposed to work. That's just, again, the seasoning.
Sure.
Now when it comes to the meat and potatoes of it, I'm still using those modes to create my chords. So pretty much everything, you know, in my songwriting process and my style is really derived of that. Now if you want to get a little more exotic, so you have like the major and minor scale, then the next exotic step to getting a little more unorthodox would be like the harmonic minor scale, which is more like the, you know, that little like Middle Eastern type of sound. It's kind of like, and even the difference between that and the major minor scale is like as if the harmonic minor scale had a stroke. It's very, very similar, right? So if I were to do the minor scale, and then I play the harmonic minor scale, same shit. I mean, his brain's fine. It's just half his face is all fucked up, you know? He's all right. But then from there, you get a little bit more exotic. I strap your seatbelts. This is a long hour, bro. But then from there, you get a little more exotic to like, you know, melodic minor. And then the further out you go, the more weird the scales type of sound, you know? So like if I were to go all the way to the end of the spectrum and play like a whole tone scale, kind of this weird dreamy, like, you know, kind of sound. When I put that in the song, I was gonna say no, but I actually did. So, but it was appropriate for the band because they were like, hey, you want to do a guest solo? I was like, sure, absolutely. I committed doing this guest solo without hearing the song, never again. And then I get the track and it's and that is when my heart fell into my asshole. But funny enough, it actually, to this day, is my absolute favorite guest solo. Why? Because, kind of like what I was answering your question is, I was hearing, I was so embarrassed, I wanted to text guy, like, what key's the song? But I was like, I'm an instrument, I'm like a famous instrumentalist, I should know the key. I can't look like a chump, I'm just gonna, whatever. So I made do, and I struggled with that song for maybe about a couple months. But it just pulled things out of me that I never thought I would have ever played. And there's certain songs from bands in that genre that I've heard before, and I know the blueprint of it. I can kind of figure out ways to make it happen. Same thing with the Carnifex thing. I was like, this is pretty fucking brutal, man. People were pissed. All right, let me get pissed, But then, it wound up being, again, like, to this day, my favorite guest solo. Can I play it right now? Hell to the no. But you can look it up on YouTube and see me play it perfect, 'cause I'm not trying to do it now. But yeah, long answer to it.
So just one more question for you.
Absolutely. Keep them coming.
So I guess you would say it's safe to confirm that it's important to practice your scales, yes? I'm asking for a friend.
No.
So maybe scales are important to practice.
Scales are amazing.
Kind of like the backbone of all music, perhaps.
It kind of is. It kind of is. I mean, here's the thing. You have to make them fun. You got to make scales fun. Because, oh man, you're going to hate me for this. So I hate practicing. But in the traditional sense. Now what I mean by that is, like, if I had to sit there and play, like, up and down, I'm going to lose my mind. Now, but in order to get to that point, you have to play it robotically for a long time, You have to do it. Because what winds up happening is, you can be cool, well, you can fake being cool like me, and play scales and be like, right? That's pretty cool to do in front of a bunch of people, you know what I'm saying? So
I can't say I have done that.
Let's just start doing that.
Just start doing it, But definitely, like, 'cause what happens is, if you don't know your scales, you don't know the map. And if you're trying to get to California from New York, good luck. You can't get there. You don't have the map, But that's.
GPS.
Improvise.
Yeah.
Improvise somehow.
Yeah, I have faith in you. Awesome.
He's getting better.
Oh, I'm sure he is. You got pops on you. Any other questions?
Actually, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Okay.
I'll get you next. Promise.
I was gonna ask this before, but new music came up.
Mhm.
So, one thing I really suck at is moving my fingers quickly.
Oh, okay.
What kind of like warm-ups, exercises, stretches do you know that you can do that
Mhm.
while doing it accurately as well?
Well, great, because, man, I need to warm up. My hands are just, like, not having it today. And okay, so we have a lot of guitar players in here. There's days where you pick up that guitar and you're just like, damn, I'm killing it, man. This is a good guitar day. Like, you feel like you could play anything, right? And then you have days where you're just like, damn.
It's most of my days.
Every day. Yeah.
I suck.
Every day.
This is a problem. That's me today. And let me tell you how much of a problem it is. Because I got like 50 people in front of me, number one. And then I got the internet in front of me, number two. And today it's just not happening. But the thing is, you work with it. You work with it. So how I typically warm up, I'll do a lot of legato. Because it's typically the left hand. I mean, you have to warm up both hands. But typically my go-to exercise is doing, let's say for instance, I'm just going to stick in the same Ionian mode. I would do a... I just have like the attention span of a freaking over-caffeinated squirrel. So I would do, I would go 1, then 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 4. You guys remember that game slide? So it's like slide, 1, 2, you know, 1, 2.
Yeah.
I do that, but with this legato thing, right? And I can get up to 5 until things just fall apart. But so I'll go. 1, 2, 1, 5 times. You have to do 6 times.
Oh, God.
And then you go back to 1 4 times.
Okay.
It's fucked up. It's fucked up. But it keeps my interest for like about 7.2 seconds. And then when I get bored of that, I'll do, so you're talking about like a stretch, right? So when I was a very poor boy growing up, good things, nothing's changed. What I would do is, I was in a bunch of different bands, and you know, one band was in drop B, one band was in drop C, and I had one guitar. So what wound up happening was I had to get in the habit of like stretching, like, you know, nuts. So my stretch is, it's obnoxious, in a good way, finally. Good news. So I would do this right here. I'll be like 12, 19, really high up on the fretboard, and just like, you know. I'll do that. Now, it's not the most melodic thing, but there's a little bit of melody in there, and I'm like, ooh, that sounds kind of nice. So that'll keep my interest too, because if you give me an exercise that's kind of like, sorry, my guy reflex. I thought we got rid of that. But that's just the most uninspiring, you know, unless you're gonna put that in a song, don't practice that. You know, there's a lot of other efficient, practical, productive ways to practice doing that technique with left and right hand synchronization, right? So as far as like non-melodic type of exercises, this is as non-melodic as it gets. But in my head, it's like, oh, it's like a video game on acid. It's just cacophony, but it's fun. So that's kind of how I would warm up, which is exactly what I'm going to do low key anyway as I'm answering the questions, because ooh, your boy's hurting. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Then I'll do like a combination of both. I'll do a slide thing. You guys get the point. It's just a lot of legato. Then when it comes to the right hand, because you can't ignore the right hand, it's just a lot of rhythm stuff. So I would do like the verse and, I'm sorry, the guest solo section in octave. Just
play Gus' solo.
Oh, I can't play Gus' solo. I can't do that, man. I wish I could, maybe one day. But the right hand, that's how I pretty much, you know, warm up the right hand a little bit, which I didn't do. So we're gonna have a rough clinic. Welcome.
So speaking about practice, just I'm always curious to hear, you know, professionals, how do you fit
Use that
practice-
term loosely.
Right. So how do you fit
Right.
practice into, you know, your creative writing process, your schedule? You know,
Yeah.
what's your you know, technique, so to speak, on how to fit that in?
Yeah,
and
man.
how much time do you spend doing it?
And that's a good question, honestly, because, you know, for us who are, you know, for those of us who aren't 12 years old anymore, and we don't have all the time in the world to practice like you do. He's just like, that does not apply to me.
I wish it did.
Smart kid, man. So for me, knowing that, you know, when I was younger, I kind of like went through that whole practice regimen type of thing, you know, but when we're, you know, adults, there's very little time. We have careers, we have families, we have houses to take care of, we have a lot of responsibilities. So if you have like an hour or 2 hours to play guitar, you just gotta really make it count, you know? And there's a difference between like, there's a difference between playing and practicing, right? And I know this, but I don't subscribe to it, because I just always want to have fun, too much, you know? So typically for me, when I'm trying to get better, listen, I'm a live performer, and I know that one day, every single song in my discography will be played live at some point or another throughout my career. That's what obligates me to getting the songs down 100%. So what will happen is, as I'm writing, like the song Adrenaline, for instance, that song is exactly how it sounds. It is fast, and it is very unforgiving. I struggle with it quite a bit. But when I wrote it, you know, I wrote a little bit out of my ability, just a little tiny bit, because the song called for it, number one, and that's always the, you know, I'm not going to write fast and write out of my ability for the sake of writing it. But long story short, if you infuse what you eventually want to do, like lick-wise, into the music that you're playing, that's your obligation to yourself, because it's your music, you know? So like if you find that, like, you know, you're writing a song and you have this one idea and you hear it in your head, it goes, you know, you want to be able to do that with your fingers, you know, you just gotta, like, you have the blueprint here, but sometimes when it just comes, it doesn't come out, you know, with your fingers. But this is where you're setting the bar. This is where you're composing. Because if I were to listen to a song, if you're just listening to like this, you know, like you can improvise, in my head. So the thing is, you have to introduce your technique. You know, if you feel like you hear a lot of legato, you got to work on your legato a little bit. If you hear a lot of tapping, you want to work on your tapping. If you hear like a lot of like alternate picking, which is a little bit more of a dynamic, like in your face type of dynamic, you know what I'm saying? So you have to just work on the techniques that you feel carry the message that you want to say, right? So if you compare me to Zakk Wylde, perfect example. So Zakk Wylde is a very in-your-face, very ferocious, a lot of alternate picking, just very nose-hold bar, just like brah, right? Where I'm like a delicate little flower, you know. I use a lot of legato, I use a lot of tapping. It's very seamless, it's very fluid, you know. It's not as I'm not gonna use the word abrasive, not as aggressive sounding, you know. But if that's what you want to say, you just have to cater to techniques that exude that type of feel, you know. Just so you don't waste your time on shit that you're not going to use. Because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. It's like a language. I tried to learn Korean 3 times. I ain't got no Korean friends. But that is true. It's the same thing, you know? I mean, and same thing with alternate picking. So on the last record, I started getting into alternate picking a little bit more. I was like, oh man, this is nice. And then especially for the song Adrenaline, which I wanted that shade of red, so to speak. And I'm like, all right, how am I going to work on this? So with my legato licks, I just started alternate picking them because it's like training wheels. You know, I already have this hand done. Now I just got to get this one together. And it was not pretty. Because you record yourself and you listen to yourself back, and it's just like, whoo, man, it is very humbling. It is so humbling. And thank God for it, because otherwise we'd all have like, it would just not be good for humanity. But that's the thing, you know, just really be honest with what it is. But again, make that hour or two count, you know, because a lot of the times, man, you'll get there with your guitar, you just want to like play over backing tracks that you're comfortable with, because you want to have fun, you know. You want to have fun. But think about how much more fun you would have if you actually just were able to pull out and play any idea that you had. That's next level fun, you know. So definitely just make that an hour or two count. And if worst comes to worst, take lessons with someone that like inspires you. Like pretty much all of us, you know, out there give guitar lessons online and stuff like that. So if there's a player you love, you know, he don't be like, yo, it's good, you know. You have questions? Yeah, sure.
What type of workout routine do you do? Not actually with the guitar, but do you have like hand grips? Do you do any exercises?
I had one of those
once. Or the single hand, the ones that do each individual finger.
Individual ones. I had that one, and then I developed tendonitis from it. Because it has the different strengths of light, medium, and whatever. I had the medium one. Oh, no, I wasn't that brave. I had the medium one, and I think it was just a matter of the leverage that I was putting on it. It just, I wound up getting tendonitis, and I had it for like 2 months. It was really freaking annoying. But no, I mean, like, you're looking at the workout routine right here. That's literally, it's just that, and then this. Once in a while, I'll do like, you know, like just a stretch like this, and then you can do where you like force the blood to all your extremities. You're just like, yeah, you know, because the body doesn't want to cooperate in the winter. So yeah, that's pretty much like my go-tos for the most part. Yeah. Yeah.
So that you've been hanging and playing with Jackie Vincent.
Yes, my guy.
So he's, I mean, not taking anything away from you.
Oh,
but
take everything away from me. He's a
he's a beast. So, is there like, I mean, do you guys, is there like a little, like, do you guys, you know, sit there and be like, oh man, I gotta learn how to play that, or he's gotta, you know, I gotta step up my arpeggio game or something like that? No?
Nope. And you know,
Because there's always a little bit of, no matter what we say, there's always a little ego.
oh, bitch, there's a lot of ego. Are you kidding me? But here's the thing, and it's okay to embrace your ego in the four walls of your home. Get to know her. That's what I do. But when I leave that house, I leave her home. You know, I don't bring it with me. I don't bring it with me on a tour bus. I don't bring it anywhere, because then if I bring my ego and Jackie brings his ego and Nita brings her ego, are you kidding me? That bus wouldn't be going anywhere. There'd be so much cargo in the bus, it wouldn't move. It really wouldn't. But here's the thing. So, you know, I've toured with some of the best guitarists in the world, man. Andy James. I've toured with Gus G, who's a freaking terrifying guitar player. Chris Letchford, Jackie Vincent, you know. And there's never like there's never I guess a clashing type of competitiveness. None of that. Because I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, right? So I know, like, my main strength, man, I'm a songwriter. That's my main strength. Like, playing guitar and shredding, that is not my strength. You'll see in a couple of minutes, if you didn't see from the first song, but you'll see in a couple of minutes. And that's okay with me, because I know that no one can write a song like me. And no one can write a song like Jackie. No one can play like Jackie. He's his own thing. No one can play like Andy. He's his own thing. I could sit here and learn a bunch of Andy licks. Gus, you know, rest in peace. This is the 1 year anniversary of Ollie Herbert. When I first met Ollie Herbert, you know, it was just a matter of like, dude, there's this thing that you do in this one song. How do you do it? And I was like, and I'm showing him. And then I was like, dude, this is one thing I've been meaning to ask you since like I was like 15. What are you doing in this solo? And you know, that there's an inquisitiveness to just know the method of executing certain things, but I don't obsess of like, how the hell is Andy doing that? Like, let me work on it, you know? I've never been, I think it's just because we've all been doing our own thing so long that there's no room for, it's not that there's no room, it's just that we're all settled in our ways, I think. So like, the one thing I guess the closest thing to that was just the concept of alternate picking. So Andy James is like a surgically accurate alternate picker. I mean, like, every note's accounted for. It's like, I want him to do my taxes at the end of the year. And I never learned his licks, but I can just hear him every night. And I'm just like, I like the sound of that. I really like the sound of that. And the sound of that is two things. It's his finger and it's also his pick. And I upgraded to this massive pick. It's
They're
just
huge.
so thick. And I went from like, okay, so I went from this to this. So it's just like, I use the analogy, but for the one woman, well, there's women here. It's like, you know, my light flow days, and then my heavy flow days. And it's no coincidence that this is actually called the flow pick. This is man, bitch, that wrote itself. This is a Dunlop 420 flow pick. I mean, you could take all those aspects and however you want to take them. But there's something about this pick where it just sounds like, you know, it has like a and I love that. I didn't like that at first because I guess the guitars, and that was very Malmsteen. Oh, excuse me. I never really heard someone play in a way that made me like it. But when I heard him do it, I was like, ooh, that's sick, you know? So now I took that and just did my own thing with it, you know? But there's never any like, yeah, it's not as direct of like, you know, like a guitarist versus guitarist or like anything like that. It's more just like a, you do that thing, cool. I like that, I appreciate that. I might do a little, it might sneak its way in subconsciously, you know? But yeah, it's never like a hands-on, like, let me learn your lick. Well, not yet anyway. We'll give it time. Anyone else?
What did Nita bring to that thing where you were saying like Jackie's got his thing?
Mm-hmm.
What did Nita bring to that?
You know, the funny thing is, so like every guitarist, it's a multifaceted thing, right? So Nita, and it's honestly the main reason why I had her on Serotonin of all songs, is because has anyone ever seen Nita Strauss perform live or like seen Alice Cooper?
Yeah.
She is electric. She is absolutely captivating to watch. She is just so much energy and just so much, like her positive demeanor just exudes in everything that she does, you know. So it's not just the playing; it's also the aura of the player, you know. Like, and the other thing too is with me. Like, if I were to take myself as that example, like, you know, the one conversation that I would have with like Chris Letchford or Andy James or Jackie Vincent is just like, Angel, how do you make X, Y, and Z look a certain way, or make it feel a certain way, right? Because like, and this kind of goes into branding and like the music business side of things. But like the way I look at it is like this: it's like some of my top influential artists are like, you know, Kurt Cobain, Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, and well, same thing, Tori Amos and Bjork. Those are my like, and you know, my go-tos outside of guitar, right? And every single one of them has a feel. Like Nine Inch Nails has a feel to it, you know, consistent with the merch, with the website, how what their photos look like, you know. Bjork, of Lord have mercy, she is the visual queen. Like her brand has a feel, and you know, when you look at the total package, like the feel of Nita's brand, I just really resonate with it, man. It just is very inspiring, you know. So it's a lot more than just guitar. It's also the intention of the player, like where they came from, their playing style, and her record too was really, really good, heavy as hell. I did not expect it to be that heavy at all. I mean, it's like Melodeath. Like it has like a lot of Melodeath moments, you know, and because we were inspired by like, you know, Dark Tranquillity and, you know, all those bands, Omnium Gatherum, and when I heard her record, and I was just like, bitch, let me find out, okay, you know. And then when I performed live with her and to see her do it, it was awesome. But the way she does it is kind of like how I would do it. Like it's not a dress rehearsal, you know. Like we're standing up there, but we're running and jumping and engaging. It's a rock show. It's not a dress rehearsal, you know. All due respect for anyone who does it, that's fine. But for us, it's like, you know, it's a little bit different. So I definitely vibe with her, I guess, more on that level. Long answers. Back there.
So what's the piece of gear that got away? Either something you owned and let go, or something you saw and didn't pick up, and now you're kicking yourself?
Totally not applicable because like now I have all the gear I would like this is my end game right here, man. Like oh my god. All right, so the main two things, I'm in a polyamorous relationship with this guitar and that amp. The JP2C put hair on my chest. This guitar literally just brought out the best guitars in me, because there's no walls that are blocking me physically from doing what I want to do, you know? And then the amp, man, that amp, we did not get along at first. Let me tell you, because that's a very unforgiving amp. Every like little you do, it's just like it's just like, you know, I thought I was good at legato. Bitch, you're gonna learn today. And I learned, you know, but it was a matter of like, especially with alternate picking, because I love the way that this whole, so what I'm using right now is a profile of my Mesa, so it's the same tone. But this, that thick, low, warm, saturated, you can't just, that is that amp. And I love that sound, but it took a while to, again, it was like, I felt like I was a 3-year-old holding like a great sword, and I'm just kind of sitting there like I couldn't wield it for crap. But I had the amp, I committed to it, you know? But it really just brought out the absolute best of me. But I never really sold much gear. I mean, I sold all my Ibanez's because it's just like, why am I going to keep my ex around? No disrespect to Ibanez, you know, but it's just like, you know, if I'm gonna have a romantic relationship with her, I don't want you to watch. You know what I'm saying? Just like, no. The other thing too is like, guitar should be played. You know, I have the perfect guitar for me. Like, it's just gonna sit there and collect dust. So I sold it. A part of those proceeds went to charity, and done deal. You know, but Yeah, I'm lucky. I never made a stupid mistake to sell gear or anything like that. I have everything that I need. Yeah.
So while we're on the topic of gear, a lot of these guys might not know that that's actually your signature guitar.
Yeah, it
Maybe
is.
we could talk a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah.
Make Dave happy.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I'll make a lot of you laugh, because I'm sure that people have questions about it. But yeah, so for those of you who were at the last clinic, this is a very different guitar from what I had before. This is my signature guitar with Charvel. And there was a few things that, no matter what guitar brand I played over the years, I always had issues with certain things. So the main thing, all right, so when you first pick up a guitar, what do? You feel the neck. The first thing you do is you're going to play the neck, right? First impressions. So the first thing you're going to do is like, you're going to play the neck and you're going to figure out, oh, this is a little bit too thick, and then you're going to play it up here and you're like, oh, it doesn't quite translate as well. So there was two things I was a pain in the ass about when designing this guitar. It was the profile of the neck, which we refined maybe 5 times. Wow. And then it was finding an adequate 7-string bridge. You know, 7 strings are not, you can't make a 6-string version of a 7-string guitar, and you can't make a 7-string version of a 6-string guitar. They are two completely different things, and that's the most insightful thing I learned while designing this guitar with Charvel. And so the neck profile, it's absolutely perfect now. It's still a compound radius, 24 frets, but the biggest thing is just like, it's both, it's hard to explain. You guys are welcome to come up and play it when we're doing the signing afterward, but it's great for rhythm and it's great for lead, and that's the thing, because I am primarily a rhythm guitarist. I am a much better rhythm guitarist than I am a lead guitarist. Some people would argue that, but believe me, I know myself better than you do, and I am definitely a much better rhythm guitarist, so I needed to make sure that it wasn't a flat Lamborghini neck, you know, like, and that's great for shredding, you know, but I needed to make sure when I played Dopamine, it felt nice to play there, you know, and it wasn't like, yeah, it just didn't feel weird. But aside from that, the other thing I had issues with is the bottom horn. So you guys have ever played an Ibanez RG, you know if you do this, that horn just stabs you
in the wrist.
and it hurts! It's not even cute. It's not cute at all. It hurts. So so doing, like, I can do the biggest stretch. Like if I were to do like 16 to 22, nothing, I can make it. I can't do that in an RG. I just physically can't. Like, it would be extremely uncomfortable. But the thing is, we scooped this out enough to be accessible, but not to be visually jarring, because my guitar needs to look gorgeous. I'm sorry. And it does. So we took this out, and we also took the heel down. We recessed it into the body as much as possible, just so you have even more access, because the problem is, too, is where the body connects to guitars is typically like around like the 16th fret, but this one goes down to the 18th fret. Like, that's pretty much where it makes contact with the neck. And it just allows for so much access. It's unreal. It's really incredible. Now, the reverse headstock, I love reverse headstocks, and it was funny. I'll tell a little story. So the first time I played a show in Mexico at Malmsteen, it was me, Malmsteen, Jason Richardson, and we're backstage, and you know Malmsteen is like the Fender guy, right? So and this is like my idol. So I'm standing there and it's like, and I'm hoping, I'm just kind of like, look at the headstock, you know, because it's a Fender headstock, right? So, lo and fucking behold, he sees it, and he goes to me. Oh, this is great. He goes, what is that? And I'm like, oh, it's my signature with Charvel. And he goes, 1, 2, 7. Oh, rubbish. How great is that? How great is that? Oh man, made my day. But and the other thing too, because it's like, you know, I really want it, because listen, I'm like very much an anomaly of like old school and new school, like just my music in general. You know, I have my ballads that are very traditional, old school, like, you know, guitar instrumental, that I'm, you know, obviously a little bit new school, because that's my generation. That's the wave that I'm in. So I really wanted the guitar to reflect that. So I figured, you know what? I want an old school Fender headstock, but it's gonna be a 7, and it's gonna be reversed. It's kind of like giving a little bit of the finger to like tradition, because it's just like breaking so many rules. But I absolutely love reverse headstock, so we did that. And the biggest thing is, I typically always used double locking systems, and I got tired of that, man. It got a little bit too much. It was just like setting that thing up, I break a string, it's just, you know, you lose the mood, you don't even want to go back in anymore, it's just too much. So, I didn't even go there, but
You just go there.
it ran a parallel. Whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna take it the way you're gonna take it.
It just happens, man.
But thank you for taking. Thank you. I had it in my mind. I wanted an external thing to take. Yeah. Thank you. You're doing a fine job for your country. Anyway, so I think we tried 5 different bridges. We tried a Floyd 1000 series, and ooh, not for me. Then we tried a low pro Floyd, which was a little bit better, not for me. Then the second prototype, we tried a hip shot contour bridge. Not for me. Oh, you want a regret? That's a regret, because that's a gorgeous guitar. So if you guys have seen that natural finish guitar, the really bougie one, yeah, I don't even play that. Why? Because I put a shot bridge on it, a hip shot. Not cute, man. That's a regret. Because I wanted to go more with the non-locking, and that was one of the only non-locking bridges. I don't remember who asked this question. I'm just looking at her. Oh, it was you. My bad. Love you. But yeah, man. So the hip shot wasn't working out, and then Goto had they were making a prototype of the 510 bridge that they have like on all the Soars and all the Charvels, but they were like, we'll make you a 7 version. Now we're just like, what? And they made it, and it is the perfect bridge. Now here's the thing, okay? So you guys know the difference between like Morley and Dunlop, right? Like the Waz, all right? So my problem is this: when you have a Floyd, the height of the bar is just like, it's like this. With the Goto, it's like this. You have a lot more range, and you have control over that range. So this bridge here actually has threads that tunnel into the bridge itself. So literally, I could pop this thing in, and it's super high up. So if I wanted to just like destroy this guitar, just like dive bomb, very easy. Very, very easy to do. But if I continuously screw it in, I can actually adjust the height away from the body that I want, and no other bridge does that. No other bridge does that. Not to mention, you see this? It stays. I put it here, and it's not even screwed in all the way. It stays. It stays. It's amazing. It's not going to happen. Believe me, I was there. And even like the Ibanez Low Pro doesn't do that. Like the way that you have to get it to stick is to put plumber's tape around the bar. Fuck that! Who the hell? Oh, do you have plumber's tape on tour? I mean, maybe they might have. I don't know. But it's just like, why? This is the best bridge in the world. That's really what I'm getting at. It's absolutely incredible, and it sounds great too. That's the other thing too. So like, you know, that's pretty much the contact with the string is really the bridge, and it just sounds absolutely amazing. It takes me, what was it? It was 2.7 minutes. Like that was with the math to restring a broken string on stage and to have it in tune and to go. 2 minutes, unbelievable. And I'm slow. I'm super slow. I'll take my time. I'll be chatting with, but it's really quick.
I noticed lefties get little to no love.
I know, man.
What is, I mean, how about you guys? Do you make guitars for lefties as well?
No.
No.
No, I know. It's so not, dude.
Charvel does.
Charvel does.
Charvel does.
Yeah, Charvel does, but they don't make this model with the lefty. I know.
They should. It's like screaming at 15 because they don't make lefty. It's like.
I feel your pain, man. It's rough.
And I want one of those, but.
I mean, if you.
Yeah, me too.
What was that, sorry?
What do they go for? How much?
And that's the other thing too. Okay, so when they first talked about doing the signature, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna do a limited run," because they typically always do a limited run at first, a U.S. custom shop, and they're like $3,000 to $4,000. And I was just like, see, because my personal for any piece of gear is $1,500. If it's anything above that, it better be wiping my ass and paying my rent. $1,500 is my absolute max. Me personally, it's a personal thing, right? Because I grew up poor, man. So $1,000 was like astronomical. I grew up with $150 $200 guitars, flat out. So they were like, yeah, you know, like the list price is going to be X, Y, and Z, and it was super high. And I was like, crap, man, crap. And I was just, and I really fought for it. And I really thank my rep, Mike Tempesta, because he fought on my behalf as well. He's like, you know, this artist, he told me my situation, and this guitar is $1,300, which is insane.
Wow.
Insane.
How
Like,
do you pull that off?
I don't know.
No, because Guthrie has a Charvel, right? It goes for like $6,000.
Yeah, it's because his is custom shop it's made in the USA. It's USA parts. This is made in Korea, but I don't really care where it's made as long as the numbers and the specs are what they are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where it comes from. I can't go, it smells American. It doesn't work like that, you know? Parts are parts. Numbers are numbers. It's science. It's just a matter of, you know, I don't know, man. But I mean, overall, I mean, it's a very basic, I mean, it's not a crazy, you know, with piezos or anything like that. It's pretty utilitarian. I mean, it's a workhorse, man. But yeah, man. Originally, it was $11.99 at first. It was $1,200, and then to my from what I understand, the labor in Korea wound up increasing, so it actually wound up going up $100. So it was $12.99. But still, like, I'm like, are you kidding me? Unbelievable, unbelievable. So I really applaud them for doing that. For me and to everyone else, actually, because there's not a guitar like this on the market. This is the only guitar with this bridge, only second string with this bridge. The only one with these specs. You know, there's no other guitar like it. So to have them at this, it's just, I'm speechless. So.
Also, do you have steel frets?
No, this is literally like whatever this one is. That's what this one is.
For
Like,
sale also, by the way.
Yeah, grab it. It's gorgeous.
Just have to do a Hendrix.
Don't get jealous. It's I'm sorry.
Just have to do a Hendrix and play it upside down.
Oh, you're gonna have to play it upside down, right? But then, oh, you might get cock blocked with the horn. Oh, you're good? Oh, then you're fine. Awesome. Bye. I'll sign it for you. Any other questions? I can go all night with questions, man.
Is there any idea about, since you were talking about you're playing 6 strings, are you planning on doing a 6-string version of that?
We're working on something. We're working on some stuff. Yeah, there's actually going to be a new model of this coming out this winter NAMM, but it's going to be a 7. But we're kind of we're working on some stuff.
I haven't mastered the 6 yet, so going to a
Now
7.
that, you know what the funny thing is like when I was talking about playing the 6 for my new record, man. I realized I haven't mastered it either. Like seriously, man, it just really blew my mind. I'm just like, I'm playing like I was playing the song 2, and that's like one of the hardest songs in my discography on the 6 string. I was just for shits and giggles, and I was like, God damn, this song's easy. Damn, I'll put this back on tour. I can play it now, you know. But I didn't really realize that the 7 string really does it does makes things a little bit harder. Go figure, right? I haven't actually, it's gonna be easy. No, but yeah, we're definitely working on stuff. It's just, again, like I said before, it's like, you know, doing a 6-string version of this or anything like it, you just can't do it. So you have to start from scratch. You gotta start from scratch, different specs, different, you know, almost everything.
What
so.
is your 6-string?
What was that?
What
So the
is the
6-string I'm using now, I don't know if you guys have it, it's the DK, the pewter gray one.
24.
The 24, yeah, the DK 24s. The Goto bridge, the whole 9. It's amazing. Caramelized maple neck is the perfect guitar. It's amazing. So it's gonna kind of have some of those additives as well, but obviously it's gonna be a signature. So it's, you know, I'm gonna bastardize the hell out of it. So for sure.
I just have something I'd like to share with you. I don't mean to put the gentleman on blast before they
Love
picked
it.
up his instruments, but I was helping him to the car with them, and he asked me how we got Adam Levine to do a clinic here. So I thought that was awesome to share with you because he thinks you're Adam Levine. I'm like, that's pretty I'm like, I have to tell him. I have to tell him.
Do I look okay?
That absolutely happened.
Well, damn.
Oh yeah.
You just made my day. Hey man, the people in LA told me fake it and make it. I guess I'm making it. Right? I'm faking something. Should I play a song then? Fuck. All right. Can I play a slow one because? Yeah.
What's slow to you?
I'm gonna play a slow.
Play Acid Rain.
Oh are you kidding me?
Like chocolate rain.
Oh man, okay. I've been talking for so much, like now I'm all clammy again, and I'm all cold. I'm like, all right. This one goes out to you and those gorgeous eyebrows of yours. they gotta play a slow song. Any questions? Yes.
And again, you have the perfect blend of technique and feel.
Thank you.
Is that natural? Like, and also I notice you use your pinky a lot.
Yeah.
Like Andy James is a great player and everything,
Mhm.
but he tends to favor his first three fingers
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're just like, I mean, did it come naturally for you to just be able to do that, or somebody have to tell you, you know, use all four fingers like a piano player?
Well, the funniest thing is, I had Angel James syndrome for like at least the first 7 years of me playing. I never used my pinky, ever, ever, ever. It wasn't until I discovered arpeggios that I started doing with the pinky, because when I did arpeggios, I have the same approach when I do riffs that I use with arpeggios. So when I do a riff, I like to do melodies within the riff. That move, right? When I do arpeggios, it's very similar, and you'll hear. I'll always throw a melody in the arpeggios because you don't want it to sound redundant. We've heard these arpeggios a million times, but if you add melody to it, it's a little bit more captivating. So that's when I started using the pinky a lot more, and then it just kind of, I was like, oh, I can use the pinky for so many other things, you know, and it kind of translated to that. But when it came to, I guess, my songwriting approach, it's, again, always song first. You know, the ego isn't even really in the mix. Bitch, I'm lying, it's in the mix. But very, very little, man. You don't really want to, again, you have to have a perfect blend of seasoning. You don't want anything to jump out at you more than something else, you know? So when you have, you know, a riff that's really sick, that's just like, it's so melodically captivating, like, you know, if I were to do like the intro to the Dopamine, you know, that riff has a lot of melodic content in it. You know, it moves a lot, it says a lot. So if I did leads over that, like the leads would have to be a second priority, you know, like it's this first. And then the next section, maybe the drums take priority. Maybe the next section, then the leads, and then this and that. So when you think of like, and if you think of music in terms of like through the eyes or the lens of a songwriter as opposed to a guitarist, it's a different thing, you know? But overall for me, it was something that's developed over a number of years. But it was also because I grew up with so many different types of music, you know? I mean, I'm Puerto Rican from New Jersey, so like for us, it was Spanish music and dance music. That's what we grew up with, you know? So like, you know, salsa, merengue, bachata, all those types of music. And again, blueprints of it. So I just figured out ways to, you know, subconsciously probably even, I probably didn't even think about putting them in there, but they find their way in there. But yeah, it was something that's like constantly, you know, I'm constantly working on it and trying to pull out different shades of yellow that I've never used before, you know, and the next record, you're going to see a lot of that. Yeah, that's really what I'm pulling the trigger on a lot of the world music that I listen to, because it went from, it's like an acoustic record, but it's more kind of like world music. I know it's weird to go in, but it's going to be amazing. I promise you, it's beautiful. But yeah, that's the thing. Is like, you know, it's flexing your muscles as a songwriter as opposed to with guitarist. That I feel for me has benefited me overall. Because listen, anyone can learn how to play like me or Eddie James or Jason Richardson or Tosin Abasi, but you can't know how to write like them. You can't know how to write like them. You just can't. You can't. You can study the music, you know, like Beethoven and stuff like that, you know, or like, you know, Herbie Hancock, like all these jazz students and classical students learning the greats. You learn from them, but you're learning. So for me, again, it was like Eric Johnson, Yngwie Malmsteen, Alex Skolnick, and Kurt Cobain. Like, I learned from all of them, put them in a pot, and I cooked it myself. And what wound up happening was my interpretation of all of what they do. And that's how you do it. You know, that's how you kind of form an original sound that's very identifiable. Very identifiable. And that's, I feel like, it's kind of like the lost art, you know, because my generation of guitar players, we always, the biggest thing is just like playing a note. And I know that's Angel, or I know that's Malmsteen, or I know that's Vi, or I know that's Andy. That was very important to us, you know. I'm not sure if that's so important with younger generations, but it might be a thing of just getting older too. I don't know. I know I don't look 34, but bitch, I'm 34, you know? So it's just like, I think, a change, a different state of mind as well, that to help kind of be the catalyst to mature songwriting, you know?
2 questions. One easy one.
Are you calling me easy?
What are your thoughts on Mateus Asato?
Oh, he's so
player?
good.
Yeah.
So good. See, here's the thing. Okay, so I think the knee-jerk reaction with a player like him is you want to say he has so much feel, right? I disagree with that. Because everything has a feel. You know, it's just a matter of a certain feel, right? So, you know, Malmsteen has feel. He has a lot of feel, you know. Jason Richardson has feel. He has a lot of feel. Mateus has a lot of a certain type of feel. And he does it so extremely well, because you think of like, you know, when I think of a player like him, I call it Sir music, because you see that what they're playing and you know exactly what type of music they're going to play. But I think that, you know, individual notes and phrasing in that term, you know, with him it's more soloing through chords. So you have to know melody and harmony like that.
Mm-hmm.
And bitch, I don't know harmony like that. But to watch him play is just absolutely astounding. Absolutely astounding. He's so good. So good.
And then, second question, what acoustics are you recording with?
So I don't know what acoustics I'm going to be actually recording the record with. I can tell you what I'm writing with. So I have a couple of those Kiesel Thinline guitars. They're amazing. Now the reason why they're amazing is the necks literally feel like an electric. It's just like, it's so, they're great. And they're great for like lead guitar, like if you're doing like a little flamenco solo, they're great for that. But for those big, hearty, big, open, country, robust type of, they don't do that too well. So for the two-hand tapping stuff, it's, you know, it doesn't necessarily translate. It just sounds a little bit too thin, hence the word thin line. But I actually have, there's an Epiphone acoustic that my best friend before he passed away with ALS, he actually gave me. And that guitar, and the only reason why he gave it to me, it wasn't because like, hey, I'm gonna die, take this guitar. It was because every time I hung out with him, I always picked it up and I was like, man, this guitar feels fucking amazing. I love this guitar, man. I have the biggest horn for this guitar. Oh my god, there's children in the audience. Sorry. Oh, anyway, I say that now an hour later. Jesus, Lord have mercy. Better late than pregnant. So, I had I had that Epiphone, and that gives me those nice, big, hearty, you know, full range types of things. So when I'm doing like the two-hand tapping, like the bass lines really are present. You know, they're not so thin. But I'm not entirely sure. I have a strong love and affinity for Ovation guitars. I love Ovation guitars. So I may look into that. I'm not entirely sure where I'm gonna go, but yeah, I think I'm going to wind up using a little bit of everything because all the songs are so different. But that's what I'm working with at the moment. Yeah. Anyone else?
Just curious where you stand on, you were talking about tone before.
Yeah.
And we're just presented as just musicians, guitar players with so many different effects and,
yeah,
you know, all these different options. Do you have like a standard set that you use, or do you try new things, and you know, what's your take on that?
I'm old, man. Those days are over. No, I keep my rig very simple, man. Even my signal chain on the Axe Effects, it's a gate, my amp, some delay, and some reverb. That's pretty much it. But then I see like my friend like Sarah Longfield. You know, she uses synth pads and all these different crazy patches and pedals and Yvette Young too. All these pedals and stuff. And I look at them like, damn, I want to do that. and then like, cause the funny thing is, so I'm so blessed, but it's like, please stop sending me pedals because I don't use pedals. But they just keep sending me pedals. So I have all these pedals, and then I just think about it. I'm like, I don't want to plug this shit in. So, and the other thing too is like, I have the Axe Effects.
So you have everything. I
have everything. I'm like, it's there, you know. So once in a while, if I'm feeling a little saucy, I'll throw something weird on there, and I'm like, oh, this sounds horrible, and I go back to whatever I do, only because I have no patience for, again, mixing, mastering, tweaking things. No, I could tweak I'm a tone tweaker, man. Like as far as like my amp and my rhythm tone and my lead tone, I tweak the hell out of my stuff. But when it comes to like more avant-garde stuff, man, I just don't, that's a sword I don't know how to wield. It's like I'm holding a pink sword and it doesn't match anything that I'm doing. It's kind of like, I'm awkward, I'm trying really hard, and then you look like a tryhard, and no one likes that, you know? So I'm just like, I'm gonna there's a Sarah Longfield in the world for a reason. Let her do her thing. So yeah, I keep it simple. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that I appreciate that your guitar tone is not like this drenched in like saturation and distortion.
Yeah.
That still sounds like a guitar. Because, well, I guess it's two things. I tend to find myself in these positions where I go on Instagram like an idiot and I start scrolling through all the guitar profiles of these different people, and I'm like, man, I suck. Oh man, they're really good. What am I doing? And everyone just like, they have so much gain or they have none.
Yeah.
And it's like pseudo-acoustic stuff going on. And but I appreciate that when you're playing all the stuff high up on the neck of the guitar, it still sounds like a guitar. You can hear all the different nuances of what you're doing. The other thing, you were mentioning before how there's certain issues that you run into with the 7-string versus the 6-string.
Oh, yeah.
And myself personally, I was the dumb person who went out and bought an 8-string going from a 6-string.
Brave. Oh, you went from a 6 to an 8?
Yeah, I figured there's a 7 in there. Save money. I'm broke. What do you want from me?
That is the best reason to get an 8-string. The 7-string, then I'm saving money.
Yeah.
Man, you're brilliant.
But like, what issues do you find that you run into with the 6-string compared to the 7-string? Well, the 7-string compared to the 6-string.
You know, I'm still figuring out what issues they are. I mean, for me, it's more of like it's just less crowded.
Okay.
Right, and I'm claustrophobic. As I'm getting older, I'm getting worse with the claustrophobia too. Like segueing to I'm veering to the left. I don't give a shit. It's my clinic. So I had this seamstress, because I'm really into fashion and I follow a lot of designers. I had this seamstress make me this long Indian, it's called a kurta. And so I did a photo shoot with it like 2 years ago, and I tried to get into it again, bro, because it's extremely form-fitting, and I put on a couple pounds since then of muscle. And bro, I was trying to get into that bitch like this. I had my wife help me, and I was just like, all right, I'm ready. So she puts it on me, and I'm like, I'm literally having anxiety. Like I'm like, bitch, am I okay? Like I'm getting into a piece of clothing, and I'm having, you know. So I feel like what's happening now is actually translating to the guitar. And I feel with the 6-string, I have a little bit more space because, like, the 7-string just takes up real estate, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like I can just breathe a little bit better. Man, I should have never put that piece of clothing on my body because it was at that moment that everything just fell apart. I like the 6-strings better now. Who the hell? I'm probably going to be playing with less gain. Actually, I am playing with less gain. Oh my God, it's happening. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the discography up till now because I ain't going to be But no, man, I think that, you know, because it's just a matter of isolating too. The other thing as well is the 7-string is, like, very sensitive, like me. So without having to worry about shutting one string up all the time,
right?
It's actually really nice.
I gotcha.
So yeah, it's not that I'm getting older, guys. It's just that I like the 6-string better. But that's what the kids are gonna say. He's like, oh, he's playing acoustics. He's playing the 6-string. Oh, that's it. He's done. He's done.
Mediterranean Sundance register.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. It's just one less problem to worry about, you know. But the only thing is, it's not there to use either. So it's like it's a little balancing.
Yeah, I always run into the resonance of the lower strings being an issue.
Yeah.
When playing on the higher strings.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're trying to do like that's a lot harder. See? There you go. There's your example. And it's really hard to, on a 6-string, it's flawless every time. Like, oh wow, I'm so much better than I thought I was. But the 7-string, here's the thing though. So like if I'm playing the 7-string, it just teaches me like what's happening now is like, especially this. Okay, so one of the reasons why I suck today is, aside from the fact that I just haven't warmed up, is that I haven't played a 7-string in like a month. I've been playing the 6-string for a month. So going back to this math, right? Listen, I was a C. Oh, I'm not going to say I was an A student in high school and college. I'm not going to go there. I want to because it's a really funny joke, but I'm not going to go there. But anyway. But yeah, what the sixth string is teaching me is teaching me how to wield the seventh string a little bit better. Because I guess I got conditioned to a certain threshold of how to wield it, and the sixth string was just like, no, but you have a lot to learn. And I was like, ooh, you're right. So that's what's happening. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other questions? So the major scale goes like this. What's your question?
Do you play better with the background music of what you're playing or without?
That's a great question.
I'm gonna give you a round of applause. That's an amazing question. Oh my god. All right, so it depends on my mood. I'm a little moody. So today, I feel like I play a little better without the music because I don't have the music telling me what to play, right? So I could play something like this. Really nice and clean, but if I were to go and play like Oxytocin right now, it would be a train wreck, right? But on any other day, I like playing with the music a little bit better. Now, the reason why is because of if I'm playing with a band and I'm playing with drums and guitar and bass, any mistake I make, they hide it. Right? Not that I make any mistakes. But I do like, I like playing the music a little bit better because it kind of gives me a focus, So if I'm playing a song that's a little bit slower, that's a little bit, I can kind of get in that mood, and the songs tell me to take your time, breathe, let the notes say what they want to say. If I'm playing something a little bit faster, it's kind of like, all right, go, right? And the lack of time to think, because it's so fast, you go with two things, your muscle memory and just whatever you feel at the moment. So, one gives you time to think and one gives you no time to think, and both are good for two different reasons, Because when you're writing music, you want to think about what you want to say, and you want to think about, all right, what am I feeling, and how do and it's instrumental, there's no words, so how am I gonna write a song like the ballad I played before, right? It's called See a Heartbreak. How am I gonna get that feeling across with no words, And the way that you do that is you listen to the song, and then you just play stuff that matches it, So very soft, right? But then, oh Lord have mercy, if I played this song, something heavy like this, slower, but it has a lot of, right? So I do a lot of different things. I do stuff like song's saying. It's like, oh, go, right? So there's something to be said about playing to the music because it's telling me this is your path. Whereas if I'm just doing this here, I have a lot of freedom. I can go, all right? So that's the freedom that I have without playing with the band. So both are good.
Okay.
Okay. He's like, I got it like the first 2 minutes that you were explaining it. Like by the third, I checked out. So, yeah. Generations are tough, man.
He's just my guitar student.
Oh,
but,
yeah?
It's pretty much the same thing in lessons. I'm explaining a bunch of stuff to him. He's like, yeah, all right.
But here's the thing, though. They are sponges. They keep that. You're fine.
I'm waiting to see him use his pinky in a lesson. I can't wait. It's going to be great.
What pinky?
He's like, I ain't got no one. What are you talking about?
It's going to come in
I got
with
disabilities.
fingers.
I'm on that like Obamacare,
They're gone next
Me too, bro. So yeah. This is like a clinic, but more is like stand-up comedy, essentially. Any other questions?
How do you get through a song when you're on tour that is attached to a specific memory or a time that you don't necessarily want to exactly remember, or a song where damn, I'm tired of playing this. You know, I've played it so many times. This is crowd favorite, but I don't want to play this anymore.
You mean like the one I'm gonna probably play in like 5 minutes? I don't get any of that, man. I don't get any of that. Like, yeah, like, you know, if I don't really, I'm trying to think. No, I never really get that. Because the thing is like, when I'm on tour, I don't tour for myself at all. I do not tour for myself at all. I tour for my fans. 99.9% of the reason why I tour is for them. So, you know, I let them kind of dictate whatever they want to hear is what I play. So, all the fan favorites they get. And they always get like twists and turns. I always try to do something a little bit more engaging and fun and different, just so that they're constantly seeing me all the time. You know, they know to expect the unexpected, right? So, like a Martian Winter, man, I've probably played, God, I mean, I don't even know how many times. And the second that the intro starts and everyone loses their mind, bro, it feels amazing. It feels amazing. Like, I don't care, bro. I'll play it again. And I've done it. Like, I was kidding around. It was in Chicago. I was kidding around. And, like, towards the tail end, like, the bassist broke a string. And I was like, oh, I guess we're going to have to start all over again. And everyone was like, yeah! So I was just like, hit it! And then, da-da-da. And everyone, you know, it was fun. But yeah, I don't get any of that. But I asking it again in 10 years, I might have a different answer for you. But no, I don't even think I would, because it's my intention is still going to be the same, you know, because I very, very, very much enjoy being at home. I very much enjoy it. I love traveling. I love meeting people and engaging with people. But, you know, and I am an extrovert, but I also am an introvert at the same time. It's very weird. So, like, every time I do a live stream, every time I do one of these, like, my shirt is soaking wet. So, don't hug me. Unless you want a little bit of my brand on your shirt, be warned. But, you know, but it definitely takes a matter. Even when I first go on tour, the first couple of dates are just like, mentally, you go through just like, oh my god, because it's extremely vulnerable. You know, it's very, you have to be very, very brave to do music and to be like here with cameras and people, because you have to understand too is like, you know, videos are forever and memories are forever, you know? So like, let's say for instance, you know, I may not be having the best playing day today, but thank God my wit's on, because otherwise this would be a pretty shot clinic, you know? But that's the one thing I can kind of like, you know, I guess like, you know, rely on. But some days I'm off too, you know? And I don't want to really necessarily like ruin anyone's experience of how they enjoy my music, because it's a very fragile thing when you get to know the artist. Because the artist, getting to know the artist is going to do one of two things. It's either going to make you love the music even more, or not, or you're going to be like, I'm never listening to that shit again, you know? And because I've seen it, you know? I've seen it, and I get to the point now where I don't meet your idols. Listen, I avoided Malmsteen like the plague that day, man. I avoided it because I was like, I've heard too much. I've heard too much, and I love this man's music. To this day, I don't care if he plays the same licks over and over again. Those are my licks, man. Those are my licks, you know? But I just want to say something about my guitar. So it's like, hey, you know. But that's the thing, you know. So it is a lot of mental stuff that you kind of go through when you're playing the songs, but memories attached to them, that doesn't really apply. Luckily, thank God, you know. Like, my ex wrote this chorus. Whoa, fuck her. Oh, sorry. Anyway, moving on! Should I know we're getting low on time. It's 9 now. Should I just play a Martian Winter, then we sign, and then we, like, you know, because it's like Thursday, we all got work tomorrow. So. I don't. Oh, lucky you. Well, lucky me, too, so I can sleep till 12. Should I do the thing? Should I do the thing? Okay. I did the thing. We did the thing, and we all did it together. No, honestly, guys, I want to thank you all for just being here and showing up and asking some amazing questions. And clearly, I'm running on fumes. And yeah, let's take some pictures. And I'm gonna leave this. Maybe I should leave the guitar over here somewhere and come up and play with it. I don't care. Just don't break it. You know, try not to break it. Be gentle, but you can take a beating too. And we'll do a signing thing over here, I guess. Right? Or we can do it over there. Yeah, that's even better. So yes, thank you guys again for coming out. Have a great time.